Oh man. What's up, everybody? Been a minute since I've done a live. I'm kind of focusing on regular videos. But yeah, I'm gonna go over a couple things. Probably like my top 3 baits for the month of January. Even though January is almost over, a lot of people struggle in December, January, February, including myself. But there's been some things that have actually worked for me. About 2 weeks out from my first tournament of 2024, and I've been fishing my ass off. Feels good to actually take a break throughout this time. The end of 2023 was pretty dope. I got to fish quite a few times with Cal, and it's the big homie Cal, and the homie Dave Brook, man. So we went to Pine Flat. We did a couple things. Gabe came in, so I got to fish with him. We all got to fish together. We did like a little like mock little tournament or whatever. Really just to kind of like get in the mindset, which was super dope. And catch some fish. Went to Pine Flat quite a bit because Kauai's been tough, man. But I still like to fish there because trying to figure it out when it's tough, I feel like it's gonna make it better for me when, you know, things are rough. But anyway, that was pretty much it, man. Did some boat maintenance, banged my boat up this year or last year for the first time, so now it's pretty much a hoopty. Now I can kind of romp on it. But I learned a lot of boat maintenance and a lot of like boating techniques from them, because a lot of stuff when I'm out there by myself, I'm a little scared. Bring them on camera. I should. But anyway, yeah, that's 2023 was pretty good, and 2024 with this tournament season, I'm just trying to get better. That's about it. So, but and I think I'm gonna do that. I fished enough. I put the work in. I feel like I'm gonna be good. Anyways, that's really what's going on with me. I'm not good. I'm not bad. Pretty much the same shit. Ain't no fucking new year, new me type shit. I'm still doing the same shit I was doing last year, and I'm gonna continue to do that. But anyways, so top 3 baits for me. This is my opinion type stuff like that. The things I see the most success with, especially in these colder months, everybody likes to power fish because it's exciting. That's crankbaits and jerk baits and reaction baits and stuff like that, and they work. They still do work. But you know, it becomes a little bit more specific. You know, you got to be a little more technically sound doing that. And there's people out there that can do it, man. They can bang up. I'm just not, you know, I'm not that guy. And I love a crankbait and all that other stuff, but I've been doing a lot of finesse fishing, which is a lot of people go to, but I err more on the side of power finesse type stuff. And really all power finesse is pretty much working a slow presentation way too damn fast, but it makes it a little bit better. So my number 1 that I'm going to use and I'm going to take with me as a co-angler on this season, for me, is going to be a Texas rig. I never really messed with this too much until my brother Kenny had actually said something, and I didn't really give it the time of day, and now I use this more than a drop shot. So my specific setup, I'm not really going to get too far into it. I'll probably do a separate video for that in terms of the technicals if anybody wants to see it. But real quick, I only do it on a medium heavy. Every now and then I'll go to a medium depending on what's going on. But I'll switch to a spinning rod, which, like I said, I'll get into another video. But I usually do a 7-1, 7 foot 1 inch. And then I almost exclusively use a 5/16 ounce weight. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, it's too heavy, you need to go to quarter ounce, 3/16. There's situations for that, but for me, fishing from the back of the boat, I need a little bit quicker of a drop so that I can actually, you know, get contact with my actual bait. A lot of time when you're in the back of the boater, he's burning the bank. So a lot of time if you're going to throw something finessey or something where you're wanting bottom contact and haptic feedback is what I call it, you're not really going to get that because he's hauling ass. So you need to either lead it correctly so that it has time to drop by the time you get over it, or you go a little bit heavier so it drops a little bit quicker, right? But number 1 for me is going to be a Texas rig. This is definitely coming with me, no doubt about it. All right, the second one and it really hurts my feelings to say that this is the second one, because this has been my main staple for a very, very long time, is going to be your drop shot, okay? This drop shot, the reason why I kind of fucking stayed off the drop shot was, come on, man, come on back here, was because it kind of failed me last tournament season. And it's not that the actual technique failed me. My employment of the technique was an absolute failure until the state championship. I still like this, and if I have to pick one thing to bring with me anywhere where they're like, hey, you can only bring one rod type stuff like that, this rod's coming with me. This is a medium fast spinning, and I can throw quite a bit of things on here, and the drop shot's going to be rigged up first if I can only bring one. So make no mistake about that. But if I'm bringing more than one, this will probably be the second or third thing that I actually look to before I'm going to try everything else before I'm going to throw this from now on, instead of throwing this first, because you kind of get locked in. But my second is going to be definitely the drop shot. And the third one, not the biggest fan of this one, but it catches fish, is going to be what everybody calls a shaky head. So this is a shaky head. And I power fish this one too. So a lot of people will use 3/16 ounce, quarter ounce shaky head for me. And I'll use a Zoom trick worm, usually the 6.5. Every now and then I'll go smaller and I'll go lighter on the weight. But I like to fish it kind of powerfully, so I will fish it on a medium heavy, 15-pound braid, and I'll actually run anywhere between a 10 and every now and then maybe a 12-pound leader, fluorocarbon. But that's pretty much as far as it goes. There's a lot lighter things that you could use, and I'd probably catch more fish. But to me, it's the in-between of getting more bites and getting bigger fish, so that I could at least, somewhat be on the scoreboard next year. But I've worked a lot with these three techniques all year, and they become usually the first three that I'm going to throw. And a lot of time I'll have 12 rods on deck, but the only thing I'm catching fish on is maybe one or two, and it's one of those three, right? How to fish it and what you're going to do with it, like I said, I'll go over in another video, probably on the YouTube channel. But you definitely got to try those out. Most people are trying them out already, or they already know, like, duh. For me, a Texas rig was something that was not something that I would use. A weightless Texas rig, I don't really use it. But I'm going to start using it. You know what I'm saying? I'm still kind of early in the game, so there's a lot of stuff. Like, I throw it in there. If I don't get bit immediately, putting it down, I'm going to go grab something else, which is not good to do, but I want to catch fish. So those will be my top three that I'm taking with me as a co-angler on the Federation circuit this year. First tournament's on the 28th at Millerton Lake, and hopefully the weather's not like it was last year. Still probably going to be a pretty tough tournament, and a lot of those boaters, they clean up real nice, so it's hard to even catch fish because they heavily canvas areas with everything. But I'm trying to stay positive. I'm going to do better this year. I don't want to just go to the state championship. I obviously want to qualify for that. I want to go to nationals. I want to go a little bit further than I did last year, or just do better than I did last year. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm going out to the fish. I'm going to fish how I fish, which is something I started noticing when I was like kind of in a panic, or I'm around somebody and they're like, oh man, I'm catching on this, and then you immediately switch up to that, and then you end up fishing it too fast or whatever. But I'm going to fish how I'm going to fish. I am going to listen to my boater, because those guys usually try to help you out pretty well. And that's it. You know what I mean? So hopefully I do well this year. I'm going to fish hard. I'm going to continue to practice, and everything's going to be fun either way. So before I kill this, 3 alternative baits or whatever that are good. Because those are just baits that are successful for the month of January for me, and successful as a co-angler to bring. But other ones that a lot of people either use or they just don't use because they don't feel like it's going to work. And a couple of my favorites alternative, you're going to go with a Carolina rig. So I use a 1/2 ounce cylinder. I use about 2.5 feet, 3 feet of leader. And I usually use a really long worm or some kind of creature bait to go with it, and a thin wire hook. And the reason why I use a thin wire hook is because a lot of time when you're dragging it across the bottom, you're going to feel a little bit of resistance or sponginess. And most people that don't use this, they're going to want to set the hook, but they forget that they have 3 feet a leader that they have to account for. So you kind of want the fish to sort of pin himself at first as you're reeling up the slack so that you could get it in. A faster gear ratio reel will help too. But that is definitely coming with me because obviously I don't have to just take 3. I'm probably going to take 5 or 6. But Carolina rig's definitely coming with me if I got to drop and drag. But really good for this time, especially it covers water than the ones that I'm going to use. It covers water better, so you're going to get more of an area. Other things that I do like to use, super favorite, jerkbait. Okay. There's a lot of different kinds, and I have multiple setups for jerkbaits. For me, the setup, the action, the power is going to really be reliant on what I'm trying to do with it, if I'm snapping it hard, if I'm just trying to finesse it, or the actual weight of the jerkbait. Anything usually over a half an ounce. I'm talking like grossly over a half an ounce, like 3/4 or something like that. Some of your deeper divers are like that. The Shimano jerkbaits are pretty heavy. I'm going to use a medium heavy power, but I'm going to use a moderate action. And the reason for the moderate action is, one, I get the right kind of play out of ripping it, and the load up on the trebles. So you're going to get a little bit more of a load up, but while still maintaining a decent backbone to go ahead and get them out of the water. But definitely some type of jerkbait. My top ones right now is a Lucky Craft Pointer 100. Good luck finding that one. And a Berkley Stunner. Can't go wrong with a Berkley Stunner 112. And then the color obviously is going to depend on the conditions. Cloudy, overcast type stuff like that is usually perfect conditions, slight chop on the water. But you're going to have bright days, you're going to have clear water days. You can still use jerkbait, you just got to figure out what you're going to use. And then the last one, again, all-time favorite. I caught my first California fish with Dave on a crankbait, and it's definitely the crankbait. More specifically, a medium diving crankbait. Now, most people are going to be running deep diving crankbaits this time of year. They work really well. You got, make sure you have decent equipment for it, decent line on there, and get ready for your shoulders to kind of get burnt up, you know what I mean? Or if you're in the cold and you're trying to warm up, throw a deep diving crankbait, you'll warm right the hell up, no big deal. But I'm going to throw a medium most of the time. And what I mean medium is usually like a 10 to 12 or really 8 and below. To some people, 8 is still shallow, but to me, the square bills 4 and 5 are shallow. And I really like these DT10s by Rapala. And there's another one, a lot of people haven't heard about these, but Vicious Bait Company, they make a crankbait called an MC65. Try to do this without getting a hook in my hand. Success. Alright. But it's an MC65. I don't know what it is about this one, but usually when stuff's going south for me, with the rest of the jerkbaits, which usually the Rapala, if they're there and they're going to hit a crankbait, they're going to hit that Rapala. I'll put it to you like that. But this MC65 is that oddball where you're going to throw it, and it just has a really particular action on the ass end. And maybe one of these days I'll try to get some on the water footage of this. But I've been rocking this crankbait probably for the last 2.5, 3 years. Every time I lose one, gotta buy a new one. And then the rods and reels that I'm gonna use for these crankbaits, obviously I have a few different setups. This is a 7.6 Ducket cranking rod. This is on 12-pound test, so that I can get what I need, so I can get the depth that I need to. But this is a Kistler feeling reel, and this is a graphite composite 50/50. Now, I did a video and I explained graphite composite, and again, I'll probably do another video explaining it a little bit more in depth. But if I did have to pick one rod in terms of whether it's fiberglass, graphite composite, or graphite for a crankbait, I'm definitely going to do graphite. If I only could pick one. These graphite composites, though, are nice. It's most of the feel that you're going to get, way better load up. And man, it's one of those things, especially with this one, this Kistler rod, it's basically equivalent to the feel of using a straight up graphite rod, and it's 50-50. It's, you know, it's actually pretty amazing. I've caught quite a few fish on this, and it pins them. You know, perfect amount of load up, perfect amount of backbone. You really can't go wrong with it. And then my third setup, very last setup, when I was talking about 8 pounds or 8-foot crankbaits. Again, it's going to be a Rapala DT8. It's one of my favorite ones. Again, the DT stands for dive 2. So when I say DT10, DT8, dives 2, 8 feet, dives 2, 10 feet. And I usually throw this one because of the weight and how it's going to work. This is on a medium, heavy, fast graphite rod. And this is a Kistler graphite. And then the gear ratio, a lot of time you want a slow gear ratio. But in the wintertime, you're going to want to crank a little bit faster. But you're definitely going to still get deflection. But, so I gave you 3 that I'm going to take with me, that I run with me. That's always going to be in my hand, no matter where I'm at, whether I'm in the front of the boat or the back of the boat. And I gave you another 3 that you can run from the back of the boat and the front of the boat. For me, I'm going to take it with me. But depending on how the boater runs, if he's too close to the bank, I might not have the angle to run it how I want to or whatever. You know, usually if you're going to run a crankbait from the back of the boat as a co-angler, you got to find a way. So if I'm really going to run it, I'm going to find a way. But for things to scrape up, I basically, the co-angling thing for me is like, my process is, I'm trying to play cleanup, man. So if the boater put me on fish and he's whacking them, I'm just trying to clean up the mess, you know, until I get my 5. And once I get my 5, that's when I start worrying about weights. Because that was a big issue for me last year, was getting my 5. And it's hard to get 5 from back there. But either way, I'm super excited, man. I don't know. I wasn't even gonna do this video today, but I was like, I'll figure it out. We'll see what's up, and then actually do a regular video, which will be my first time kind of filming it raw, because I'd like to do the lives, man, because it feels like I'm actually talking to people and shit. But I got to start cutting and putting B-roll and all this other stuff, and really kind of expounding upon some of the things that I'm learning, so that I can pass it to you. If you're fishing, you're having difficulty, you could be a great fisherman and be like, damn, I never thought about that. Or, shit, you could tell me something, I'm like, damn, I never did that. But other than that, man, I'll keep you guys posted on how the tournament season goes. Probably this year, I'll probably give you a tour of my little Ranger that I've been fishing out of, which has been a blessing. Yeah, thanks to everybody that still supports me, talks to me, goes fishing with me. It takes me fishing, like Cal and Dave, man. You guys don't know how much that shit means to me, man. I know we homies who live around the corner and shit, but boy, it has been a fucking blast, man. I've learned so much from you too. But other than that, man, it is a new year. Wash that old shit off, I guess, or keep it on. It's up to you. But make sure you're taking care of yourself, your family, and your mental health. And I'll see you guys in the next one.